You know, it's just like when you're going to hire somebody and they're like, well, I haven't worked in 5 months. My schedule's wide open. And I'm like,
yeah, why is it wide open?
you know, it just never looks good. You know, there's no. It means you have no motivation to even like do something. I don't know. That's just
5 months.
You know, people want to hire busy people.
Yeah.
You know, I will wait. Sign. I will wait 2 weeks to even just talk to you because it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
so when you can fit them in.
Yeah, exactly. So my thing was always, if I'm not working on something, I will be making my own work. You know, like there's no.
I see you. Yeah.
There's no like, oh well, there's no movie in town. Yeah. It's like, I'm busy as hell.
Yeah, I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna get on shows. Gonna
whatever,
do these stuff like that. Whatever it takes to move the project forward. Interesting. Well, Matthew, I'm very excited to talk to you today, man. I've been looking forward to this. I've heard I was telling you on the phone, like after the phone call, I was I was inspired in terms of like creativity and storytelling and stuff like that in film. So I'm very excited to sit down with you today, and I appreciate you, like you said, busy giving me your time today and this morning. So thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So let's. I agree, and let's dive into it then. I kind of want to, before we get into the nitty gritty, dive into kind of take me through your transition leaving high school, and then we can go all the way through it full circle.
Right.
Pick off stuff for chats.
Yeah. Well, high school. You know, after I left high school, I know I wanted to do something creative.
Yeah.
I was making films with my friends and all that stuff, and but there was not really any opportunity in Northern Ontario. I'm from the north here.
Right.
In films, you know, now it's like I guess more typical that you see films here or whatever. It's like there was nothing like that before. You know, there was not even anybody to model myself after, being like, oh, that one person in Northern Ontario, I want to be like that. I didn't even know anything. I didn't know it was an opportunity to if I want to make films, I could do it here. So, but I also didn't really want to go in Toronto or anything like that for school. You know, and I basically just looked at the program, Cambrian College, and they had advertising, and cool, I could shoot some commercials. Right on, you know.
Interesting.
And I didn't even really read the program or anything like that. I'm just like, boom, I'm just gonna do that, and then it's gonna take me I just have this vision of you know, I'll be working with cameras or something like that.
Right, no matter what.
Okay, you know. Nice. But before that, I had taken a year off. So after high school, I took a year off.
Yeah.
And I worked at Cisco, which is like a food factory thing in a warehouse, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's like bulk food orders and stuff.
Yeah. Like that. And there were people there that worked for 30-something years, and they were miserable. They were counting the days to retirement.
And they're still 15 years away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and
insane.
they you know, they're always complaining about the company, and it's always this conflict. And I'm just like, why are you here? Yeah. Really, there's I get it, it's a small town, you have to do this, but man, that is a miserable existence.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And that was the best thing ever, to see that, be okay,
it's scary.
I need to do something with my life or something, because I never want to be in that boat where I'm counting my time to retirement. You know, what is retirement? What
sit
is
on
it?
a beach for 20 years.
What is this dream of retirement? Yeah, what is it? It's
such an old school concept.
It's such an old school, but also what do you do in retirement?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're just no longer existing. It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
And then
you have no value anymore. Almost.
Exactly, right? It's so saw them, and I was just like, okay, I got to do something, you know. Yeah. So, and then I went to college at Cambrian College, and turned out the program was nothing than what I thought.
Yeah.
Cool people I met, some cool friends I made, but there was no opportunity to film anything because Cambrian College wasn't doing that. Yet I made it an opportunity for me to do some stuff. And nice. So for example, we had to write a commercial spot, whatever, for anything, right? And I'm like, not only am I gonna write, I'm gonna shoot it.
Yeah.
Why would we not
film
follow through? Yeah. And so I would make it or make these posters in Photoshop, just anything that I could put creativity behind it, right? And it was interesting in the sense that you know, I learned a lot about just advertising and the psychology of it. You know, frequency is the most important thing when you're doing anything in advertising, right? It's frequency. We have to see it often. You know, a lot of people say, it's oh, you're going to pay that much to put your logo there, which just you know what? When you're thinking of a product and you see that logo again, you're like, oh, I have confidence in that.
So repetition of
repetition, frequency, right?
Goodness. Yeah,
frequency over time, and
man,
and bam, and threes. This is why threes, or it's always about frequency every time. Like it's kind of like working out, right? Like if you only do it once, a big time, but one.
Yeah, you'll feel sore, you'll feel like great, but
kind of doesn't do it. It's better to do smaller amounts, but frequency over time.
For
right?
sure, yeah.
So that's kind of how advertising works, and this is why people pay big bucks to just have their logos just everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what Nike knows. That's what Adidas knows. That's why they're so successful, and that's why when we see their brand, we're so reassured because we know them.
We see it everywhere.
I'm not taking a risk. I know this, right? Like it's so reassuring that we've seen that before. Yeah. So that was a cool lesson learned, but the cool thing was at the end of the program, our last course we had to do a 2 months unpaid placement.
It's always unpaid.
I know.
I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday.
Take advantage of the students, big time. And advertising, everybody had like just placements wherever, like they're pushing garbage and stuff like that, or coffee for the people. And I had an opportunity I went to the Northern Ontario School of Medicine where they were just literally opening that year, their first class. Whoa. And they basically had no advertiser, they needed people to do some creative stuff, sure. Right?
Yeah.
And when I got there from day one to like the 2 months, I was like busting my ass. Like I'm like designing these things and you need a poster, you need this, and then I became like the people that they depend on. Amazing, I was actually doing some hard work, I would even stay on the Friday nights overtime when I'm not even getting paid, and like where everybody else is going home, and I'm just like, I gotta finish this, And from it I got a job.
Of course, right away. Yeah, at that point.
They're like,
it'd be silly not to at this point.
Exactly. So they're like, my placement wasn't even over. They're like, Matt, once your placement is over, you want a job here. It's not even like, well, we're gonna be like literally, my placement ended and then I started the Monday, or so it was cool. Like direct transfer, and then I got into that job, and I feel very fortunate. But one of the amazing things about that, I was working in the communications department, was that they were startup, and you probably know as a filmmaker, you're always hovering over gear on your buy list on like Vistec or B&H,
You got open tabs on everything. Yeah.
This lens soon, like, and I'm a broke ass filmmaker, out of college and stuff like that, and just like, and they're like, one day they're like, Matt, we have this bunch of startup money and we need to spend it, and we're looking for video and camera gear to buy.
Amazing.
What should we buy? And I'm just like,
you're chomping at the bit.
I already have the cart full, ready to go. And it was amazing. I just gave them the list, and they bought everything on that list. And then I got to play around with the equipment that I was always dreaming.
I was like, it's for you.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Literally always dreaming about these 7200 awesome. Zoom, the Canon 7D at the time, and all of that stuff. And then have access to it.
Yeah.
And then my job was literally to take pictures, make creative stuff with them, and then eventually video. It was just such an incredible learning experience for me to work kind of in a professional world, applying my skills and just really honing in photography. Like back then I just like the concept of photography. I knew really nothing, right?
Right.
But now going around and having to like produce some quality photos and with lights and stuff like that. So really playing around with that really sharpen my skills, apply them right away.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool opportunity, and it's funny. So I did that for 5 years. When I was working there, I got the Staff Innovation Award for like 2 years.
Let's go, baby! Come on.
Like nobody else is doing that. Let's go. And I said, guys, you don't have to give me an award. You just have to name a wing after me.
Hey man, I'm all for it.
Okay.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
It's just a good opportunity. I had a great team to work with, but it's just like, anything is an opportunity, is what I'm saying.
Right, what you make of it.
Sure. It wasn't that, like, yeah, exactly. It's what you make out of it, right?
Right, because you said you definitely could have just not, like, just done probably what a lot of other students you're with, right, did, where they just coasted throughout it just to do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm going to make the most of it, especially because you enjoyed it.
Not one other student got a job outside their placement.
Except you.
Except me. And there's
Amazing.
a funny story in there, but I might go into that later on about the program coordinator. But in the end, it ended up that I graduated and I got the diploma, and then boom, I have a job where nobody else does, and it's a really amazing job as well. Like it was like really comfortable. Had an amazing team to work with, and then after 5 years, my passion is always to make films, and I would always take the camera home with me or anything. And to me, I'm seeing it as like I'm doing them a service. I'm knowing how to use their gear.
I'm learning.
It's only to their advantage that if I know how to use this gear, it's like, why wouldn't I take it out, right? And I was making some stuff with it in the weekends or some film, but it was never my films. I was working on their stuff or other people, and I'm like, I want to still be a filmmaker,
Yeah.
And I remember they're starting to films to come into town. I'm like, okay, I made a bunch of short films with my family or anything like that. And I sent it to a producer here in town, Jason Gillette, and he was working at the time in the music and film motion, and he said to me, he's like, Matt, these are really good videos. What do you want to do? And like, I want to be a filmmaker, And I remember this. He told me, and he said, Matt, if you want to be a filmmaker, you can't do it part-time. And right there, I'm like, holy shit. Damn. That's right. You know what? How can I possibly be successful when I'm dedicating my entire focus on this job during the day, and then I'm doing my thing that I love on the side?
It's like a passion project.
Right? It's like, no, I want it to reverse. I want this to be my thing, right?
Yeah.
And that month, I literally, I bought a house. I bought a car, because I would never be able to do that without this job.
Sure, yeah.
And then once I signed the mortgage, thank you for the house, I quit my job.
No way.
I quit my job. I said, because the bank will never look at me again.
Never,
like, try to buy a house as self-employed.
Without consistent pay stubs.
They all care. It's like, okay, but where's your paycheck? And like, oh, I have one for 5 years. I have this 2 bi-weekly paycheck. They're like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I quit and then they don't care as long as you make the mortgages after that, right? It's just for the initial thing that will trigger it. After that, they don't give a shit if you have a job or not.
That is true.
Yeah, as long as you make the payments.
Hilarious.
So quit my job, and remember, my boss looked at me at that time. She's like, Matt, please, like, what are you going to do? Do you have anything like that? I'm like, no, I don't have anything like I know I want to make a video. That's all. Like, it's not like I had a client list. Like, I'm going to transition them. Like, no, I'm going to do video for people.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then my boss is like, okay, Matt, listen, if you want to go, that's cool. But if you want to come back, it's 6 months or a year. If it doesn't work out, there's a job for you. Just take the chance, like a sabbatical, and you could come back. Yeah. And then I looked at him like, thank you. So that's so.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's so nice.
Sure.
But I do not need the safety net.
Can't rely on that.
I can't. It's not like if I'm going to be a filmmaker for a year and I fail, I'm no longer a filmmaker. I'm going to be something. I'm going to go into plumbing or something. No, I'm going to be a filmmaker until I'm successful. Like, I'm going to be successful at it.
I need that, like, can't fail at it. Yeah,
exactly. Like, I don't want to have in my back of my head, well, I'll just go back to the medical school, if it just doesn't work. This project doesn't line up. No, it's do or die, like, this is my way of making money. Yeah, exactly, right?
For sure. No, that makes sense.
And so that was I quit my job, and then I started doing video productions. And you know what? The universe is amazing, like, most of the times I have no idea what my next month's going to be. Yeah. And it's been like that since I started. I have no idea what the projects, and sometimes at first I would get nervous. Oh shit, what am I going to do? Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's 2 projects. There's 3 projects. There's sometimes 4 projects. Like, oh my god, like which one am I going to take, right?
Trouble figuring it out.
Exactly. And just managing my time, and so I don't worry about it anymore.
Oh yeah.
And there's always like a film that comes. I could work. I'm so skilled at multiple things. I could do graphics, I could do photos, I could do video.
You could play a good integral role in each. Yeah.
I could wear a lot of hats, right? And so it's really served me well. Did a lot of cool stuff with some filmmakers here. But one of the opportunities was working on film set as the behind the scenes photographer. I think anybody that's starting to film, there's a really good position to get into. Behind the scenes photographer. Yeah, they call it EPK. So I was making the electronic press kit. A movie comes into town, we need an EPK. Matt's the EPK guy. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then sometimes there was like 3 or 4 films going on at the same time. Oh, so you get them. And the cool thing is that I'm not there for 30 days, on the film. I'm there for a few select days. I'm interviewing the producers, the actors, the directors, all the key important people. I'm there on the biggest days, like the stunt days or like the days with all the extras or anything like that. And then it's just a cool way to learn because I'm my own boss. Right. You know, I don't have to be like camera assistant and I'm working under them and I have to listen. Like, I'm a fly on the wall. And people want to talk to me because I'm the behind the scenes guy. They want to say good stories, right?
Yeah, you're the press kit guy.
Yeah, exactly. They're not pissed off at me. They want to show the good side.
Yeah, because you're the one that put like they get the notoriety in front of the
even the actors, the producers. Come on here. Oh, we want to show you this or this. It's like cool. Yeah. Wow. So, but the coolest thing is I got to see how the cinematographer works, and I was always wondering like how do they know where to place the lights? Like, I'm looking at this, there's like, 20 lights all over. Like, how does the cinematographer even like thinking of like
we're outdoors,
one light? Yeah, like, and then he's blasting this HMI here, and then he's bouncing it there, but then there's a little side light. Like, how does he even know what each one does, and how does he pick them? And like, it was just such a mystery to me. And that was the coolest thing. I'm like, I'm just hovering around and filming, but also I'm really observing the cinematographer at work. You know, like. Why did he choose that? And then as the photographer, videographer for the film, I'm like, I have to find the best light as well, right? To like frame the shots. I'm like, oh, the light always looks better when I'm filming here, you know, or compared to a front light shot or anything like that. So I'm filming their professional lights, but in doing so, I'm seeing what looks good in my frame, right? I see you, and it's usually where the camera is, you know, where their camera is. Oh, that looks the best shot right now. It's the best lit shot, right? And it was just really interesting. And then from there, I started doing a lot of cinematography, anything I could get my hands on.
Anything,
Music videos was a huge thing. I did so many music videos. You know,
that's a big one, eh?
Short films, You know, if you're a cinematographer and want to learn, music videos is the way to go.
Would you offer like? Because I know a lot of artists might not have the funds initially. Would you offer like how would you go about negotiating that, especially if you do have skill?
Every project that I've done music video for the most part were free. You know, and if you think you're doing it, you know, why should I pay you as a cinematographer who doesn't know much? You know, the opportunities to learn and it's just about being creative, right? You have to be able to get something in your mind's eye and be able, can I translate that into the visuals that I want to capture? And it was hard at first. I'm like, I'm really thinking this epic shot. And then it's like, that didn't turn out, you know? It's cool, but not what I wanted, right? It's like, how do you get a one-to-one? Like, if I could imagine it, I could make it a reality in there, right?
I see.
And it's just by doing it a lot, you know? And
the repetition.
The repetition, getting the right gear sometimes, you know, access to that. But it's really some amazing talents also that I worked with here. Like, Sudbury, this is why I'm so like pumped about Sudbury, because all the music videos that I did, the short films that I did, were what got me to Los Angeles. And those are all my free gigs. I did not use a single paid thing into my portfolio because they were boring. You know, you're not taking chances. It's like, I didn't show any of my behind the scenes. Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't, there's no heart. Like, I want to see the creativity. It's like, I could only be creative on my free stuff.
Right.
You know?
There's no limit to your creativity in that sense. Yeah, with the photos.
It's like, I'm not going to show my portfolio with corporate videos.
For sure.
Why? I don't want to get hired as a corporate video cinematographer. I want to get hired to be filmmaking, right? I want to be hired for these unique images that I could create. And so how do I convince people of hiring me? Is by me creating these creative images, right?
Yeah.
What we show people is what we're going to be.
Right.
So it's just really important that if you want to be a horror cinematographer, then make some horror shots, you know, like don't do Hallmark looking images.
Yeah, just because that's all the projects you've worked on. It's like, no, create, and then you'll get to do it more. And then use that as a that's a really
good takeaway. I really cut my teeth for like 10 years or so just making music videos, short films, you know, anything that I could get my hand, and even corporate videos. I would like, still to this day, I always aim to make them creative, right? There's no such thing as just another boring corporate video. It's like, there's always an interesting take that you could think, you know, to do on them. Like, what's the style of it? You know, like, I'm doing one, I'm like, okay, this one is all going to be long lens and, like, you know, in the style of Ridley Scott kind of camera. You know, like, I make it fun, you know, and I bring my own style to it. I'm always challenging, and you should never try to repeat something. Like, try to evolve your craft, right?
Yeah.
Be a chameleon. Nobody should be like, oh, that's a that's a Matt Seguin image. I'm a chameleon. If I work with a director, my images look like the director's image. Yeah. If I work with somebody else, if I'm making my own images,
interesting.
So it's really important that you're able to be really multi-skilled.
Whoa, I see you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's funny now that you say that. Now I think back to like the most recent film or shows that I've watched that are done by like Canadian crews and stuff like that, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, I'm like, why the stills or the press kits on Instagram and stuff look the exact same style in terms of like everything from color to lighting to whatnot. They all look the same as when you actually watch the show. And that's, I think, what you're referring to, right? It's like how it looks the same, the photos and the directing style. It's not like it's just stills from, right? Because there are behind the scenes that look like it's the same way as if you're looking through the same lens. And I'm like, whoa, interesting.
Yeah, that would be part of the EPK kit. Yeah.
And that's how you tie them together, where you look through the lens. You're not just, hey, it's a completely like black and white image, but why are we watching it? It's all in color.
Yeah, like you want to be seamless with your work.
Yeah.
And it's just really doing it a lot, right? It's any opportunity that you could get to be creative, like take it, because when you do get paid for that job, you want to know that the risk you're taking will look cool.
Oh, for sure.
That's the most important thing. It's like you will never take a risk for a paid job. So you got to do it on your free stuff, and your free stuff is where you get to be creative and just explore,
And then that kind of builds to the next page.
Of course, listen, the more you give, the more you get.
Fair.
It's a universal 100%. Law. It's a universal law, and every free job that I've done, I've gotten triple or more amount out of it.
Amazing.
And but it's not in like direct response. Like I did free gig and then I got the paid gig.
Yeah.
No. So there's one director, Darlene DuPont, which I love, amazing filmmaker here. We did her short films like when I didn't even have lights, I'm like hooking some stuff. It was just so ghetto, like we're just making it. It'd be hilarious, And now she's like a big time director. Yeah. We shot her feature film Stellar.
Amazing.
But that came 10 years later.
Yeah.
That gig paid off. From doing her short films to now. If I would have said no, and I remember at that time when I was making that short, people were like, "Why are you doing this for free?" Like and it wasn't just like one day; it was like 3 days, and then I was coloring it. I was doing some of the edits.
Of work.
It was a lot of work when I could like be working on my other corporate videos and make more money or whatever. And then now people are like, "Oh, you're so lucky! You're the cinematographer on these films and stuff." It's like.
It's like
more you give.
3, 5, 10 years ago. I think it pays itself off, because when we look at the transaction, we think of it too much as transactionally with like for financial benefit, whereas that's like there's a massive opportunity that like you put a lot of work in. It paid off in an investment, but it paid off in like massive opportunities.
Always.
And like it always seems to get brushed under the rug. It's like you're paying or not paying, or you're going that extra mile to be in that space that might present that opportunity, and you enjoy it. So regardless, it turns itself into it when you put your best foot forward.
Yeah, and remember the universe wouldn't connect you with anybody if it wasn't an opportunity. Right. Everybody that we meet have a message to tell us, have something to show us, have something for us to grow, right? Whether we treat that person badly or good, it's for us to learn from it, right?
Yeah, man.
And until we learn that, we're going to keep repeating these things until we can level up. It's literally like a game, right? Until you master this and patience, you can only get to this, right? But until you master patience, we're going to keep testing you on the patience thing, right?
I see you, yeah.
And so if you're a rude asshole, you're going to keep getting tested until you're like, maybe I shouldn't be a rude asshole. And then you'll see, oh, wow, things start to unlock. And then you get to go to the next level, right? And then you get to unlock more of your full potential powers, right? And so don't be an asshole. That's what I have to say. There's no use. There's no
the title of the episode.
Yeah, there's really no like it will only hold you back.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, come on, treat people with respect. If you want respect, you need to give respect.
Yeah.
Why should I respect you? Or I mean, why should you get respect when you don't give it?
For sure, yeah.
Like, it's reciprocal, right? It's every action has reaction, and so what is your action? And then you'll get the same. Like it's so obvious, right? And I just don't understand when people, give bad customer service or anything like that. These are all missed opportunities to grow.
For sure, yeah. And it's like you'd want to be the best person in that space that you can be. So like referring to your customer service example, the amount of times I've gone and they're just immediately cold. cold shoulder, cold look on their face. They're, like you said, the Cisco style of personality where it's like they're just there until, maybe not retirement, but they're there until something better comes along, and they're just like counting down the days, checking off the minutes, and you're like, it's frustrating, right? Because you may be in like a bad position, or something went wrong with an order, or you paid a lot of money and you might not be able to get it back, right? As a gift or whatnot. And people are like, well, actually you can't. And they're like, okay, like, can we work with something? Like, maybe get a credit or something? Like, there's no wavering room at all. This is Walmart, for crying out loud. So what do you mean I can't get my headphones back because it's COVID and I didn't use them, but I bought them and they're still in the same sealed, but I can't return them because they're earpiece, but I never use them. They're like, oh, well, you can't return. It says on the receipt.
Missed opportunity.
I'm like, with store credit, just give me a different one. But no, yeah, stuff like that. That's a real story, obviously.
He's like, very personal.
Oh, like, earpods.
A lot of trauma here.
But he's like, ooh, man. It's like, if you need a minute, take one. But yeah, that's so. With having before we get into Los Angeles, I have a really interesting question that I'm curious about. When was do you struggle enjoying, or how do you go about still enjoying film and like watching as a spectator? Are you able to remove yourself like out of body to like be able to actually enjoy it, or shut the brain off, or as like the passion and the mind kind of taken over, and like, can you now not, because you know how the arcs are, you know how things are kind of set up, you know the behind the scenes, you almost know what's going to happen before it happens. Are you able to still enjoy it as much, or how do you shut that off if you do?
Do you think a scientist can enjoy a flower? Knowing that he's a botanist, do you think they enjoy flowers less or more?
I'd almost think they'd appreciate it more. Yeah,
exactly.
No way. Yeah,
right? A good film that has a great story is that much better because I appreciate the craft. That much how much more.
Work went in.
Oh my god, this is, and
that's
I could get sucked in more. And then like you get, when you could forget about the canvas, and you could and this is what movies does, right? It's an experience, it's a journey, and they are able to transport you on this journey, and you're able to feel all the feelings that this character goes through, and at the end there's a catharsis release or something like that. That is a well-crafted film, right? That is, deserves applaud, appreciation, but also that much more because it took me there, right? And so there's so much more appreciation for it, for a well-made film and a good story. And it's like, kudos to that filmmaker, and I want to know more about them, or I want to know how they made the film, I would rewatch it because now I want to know how they did something. And sense. So there's just more depth to the appreciation, right? It's not just, well, yeah, I felt good. And it's like, whoa, when they did that shot, and they came around and they revealed that person, and I just felt, wow, they well crafted, right? Oh. So there's just way more appreciation. And on the other side is that a clunky film is that I just turn it off. You won't suffer Netflix. Through it. Yeah, fair. The mediocrity is on the rise as well, right? And very it's just like, in the end, they're mimicking what people mimic what they see, and they watch a lot of mediocrity. So they tend to make more mediocrity stuff, right?
Yeah, get worse and worse as it goes.
It's just the nature of democratization, right? It's just the nature of it, and we as filmmakers, we have to look up to good. We have to mimic role models that did a really good job doing cinema, and if we're going to do cinema, because it's just a remix, right? It's not like we're original, and like none of the films I've ever seen are going to influence me when I make my. No, of course not. Like every film that I do, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do a little thing like Bresson did, or like we're influenced by what moved us, you right? Like, and so it's really important to watch good stuff. That's that any filmmaker, and like just watch good films. You don't even have to watch new films. Just like there's a slew of old amazing films, and that's where you tend to mimic those good stuff if you watch good stuff.
So people getting into film, what would you, if you have a couple older movies or anything like that you'd recommend people watch to kind of study? Maybe if they're in the beginning stages, or they've always been creative and they'd like to kind of pursue it in like a digital form. What ones would you recommend if you've three?
Yeah. First, you should not be scared of black and white films. For some reason, there's a barrier there.
Yeah, like a bit of a disconnect
of people. They're like, well, it looks. Oh, it's like black and white is so incredible. Like even silent black and white films. So one of them is called Sunrise. It's one of the last silent black and white films before they invented sound. or not invented sound, but put sound into camera. So sound was a big thing that kind of ruined cinema. Because before that, you can move the camera around. They were small. Who cares that they made sound like it doesn't matter. You're not recording sound, right? And so you could do a lot more. And then you start to see the pictures. You see Hitchcock, his films. It literally looks like a giant fridge.
Yeah,
because the camera was into this soundproof box, and now the actors couldn't move much because they didn't. The mics weren't that well. So it's like, no, don't move. And then we're just going to do close-ups of your face. And then it's like the whole cinema is movement.
Yeah.
And they stopped the movement part for sound.
Whoa.
So it's like the best films are the silent black and white film. If you look Metropolis, which is an amazing black and white film, that's incredible, right? Like, or M for Murder. Well, it's M for Murder is Hitchcock. M, which is Fritz Lang film, is another incredible German expressionistic. Oh, I can never say that word.
You got it though.
There goes
expressionistic, yeah.
Just
sneaked it out.
Just the dimensions of it, like you would think black and white, you lose color. How can you express? You actually have more expression because it's in the grays and the tonalities of that you can really express yourself.
Yeah.
And so. You should watch it. Really, Fritz Lang is a genius filmmaker that just like he invented the countdown, by the way. So in Metropolis, there's like 5, 4, 3, 2, and then the
movie
that never happened. There's no countdown before that ever. There's no need. There's no rockets. In this film, there's rocket. And now every other film has a countdown sequence, but it's because of this film. Art imitates life. Life imitates art. It's always the same.
Whoa.
It's pretty wild. That's a really good film. And then you should watch Sunrise, which is a American film, 1932. I might be wrong.
Early 30s.
Early 30s, yeah. Just before sound. Incredible. This guy, love story goes kind of wrong, but all told without words. It's an hour and a half. There's some text on screen sometimes to transition, but they're all showing it through movement.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. They have one scene where it's like the big cityscape. You see them, and in the background there's like hundreds of people, and they look really small because they're far away. And in the studio, they're shooting on a studio space. They're like, oh, we don't have that much space. How are we going to cheat that? So they made the buildings smaller in the background, and then they're like, well, the people now are too big.
Giants, yeah.
So guess they got hundreds of small little people.
No, they didn't, dude. No way.
It's so best. So they got hundreds of little people to walk in the background.
That's
so they look smaller.
Amazing.
And it's just a perspective, right? It's just like
all you need is
it's all cheat. It's all cheating. Just an illusion, right?
That's so smart.
Yeah. Sunrise. You should watch it. It's a really good film. And then if you're going to start to get into sound, you should watch Rabbi Bresson's A Man Escaped. An incredible film. Yeah. Incredible film. You should watch all of Rabbi Bresson's filmography if you're into films. One of my favorite directors. But he showed that sound and images should not be redundant. So what you're showing on the image should not be said with words. You're already showing it, right? If I'm doing something, I don't need to say it because you see me doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So he really painted a whole world, and it's a man that is literally trying to escape from prison. It kind of says it all, right? And it's based on a true story. He's trying to escape.
Insane.
But the whole world, you're just stuck in this prison cell with him. But you hear the whole world. You hear a train. He says with one word, one sound of a train, you could imagine whole train stations bustling and all that stuff, right? Just through sound. And an image is so precise, right?
Yeah.
So you just really have to use those to your advantage where, okay, what can I show as an image that's really precise and says something?
Yeah.
But then the sound creates this entire other world. And it was just amazing. It's an incredible film.
Yeah.
And it's really gripping the whole time. And really there's like so little action. Yeah. And you're just like at the edge of your seat.
No way.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
That's so cool.
Amazing.
Like the sound is just that much more powerful than.
Yeah, he just really knows how to use it, and it's a spiritual film as well. It's beautiful.
He said based on true story.
Yeah. He actually, Rabbi Bresson was a prisoner of war, and it's based a little bit on his story. It's based on somebody else, but it's very personal to him.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
that's amazing.
Filmography is great. And then I would watch Citizen Kane, which is the greatest film ever made. We're probably going to talk a little bit about Orson Welles. I might drop him a little bit. He's a big inspiration.
Yeah, please.
Orson Welles. So this is like in 1941 that he released Citizen Kane. So it's such a crazy story, epic black and white film, and Greg Toland, his cinematographer, experienced cinematographer, and Orson Welles gets to make this film of a lifetime, this deal of a lifetime with the studio, and he never shot a single frame of film before that. He has the best deal in Hollywood to make the film for a decent sized budget, has access, he's the producer, has access to anything, and he has the final cut. He could hire anybody and all of this stuff. The studio like gave him carte blanche. Even the biggest directors at that time didn't have carte blanche. And they're like, this kid, Orson Welles, never made a film, and he's got carte blanche to make this. Insane. And he didn't even know. Right now we're sitting again. They had no idea which film he was going to make. They're like, just make a film, Orson Welles.
Yeah.
And because he was amazing at Broadway and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, I bet you he's going to be a good director.
Yeah. They just
he comes to Hollywood, and you know, this is what we're going to go into, but it's about creativity and the naivety of things as well. He didn't know what he could do with film. He knew theater. He's like, well, you know, we're just going to put things into motion. We're going to do this.
Make a performance.
And then people are like, no, this is not how we do things. He's like, shut up, you know?
You don't have to.
And then his cinematographer is really risky and experienced. He's like, he told him, he's like, Orson Welles, I could tell you anything about cinematography within one weekend.
Amazing.
He's like, you're the director. If you want to know the technical side, I'll have to, you know, it's going to take a few hours, but really let your imagination go loose, and I could create it.
Amazing.
And so if you look at Citizen Kane, even to this day, it's called deep depth of field, where there's no things out of focus.
Oh, geez,
and you're thinking, okay, cool. How do we see the world? Do you see the world, you know, this microphone out of focus and me in focus? Or like, no, we don't have, we see everything in focus, right? And so that's what he was thinking. He's like, why are things selective focus? Because like when you shoot on your Canon, for example, like f1.2, there's only one thing in focus and everything else.
Yeah, and you can make background blurs and people come forward.
But is that how you see the world?
Nope.
Of course not, right?
Especially
so he's
like that.
So he's like, we're going to work with deep depth of field. And it's a real challenge, because if you understand deep depth of field means that you have to have a smaller aperture, meaning that you need a more light. And back then, film was not very sensitive to now. Right. So it was already hard to expose for film at that age. And now they're like, we're going to shoot at f32. They need to, so you should see the sets. It's crazy. So much lights, the huge massive sets that he could play around with, foreground, background. It's a beautiful work of art. Still to this day, it's probably the greatest film ever made.
Jeez.
And oh my God, it's such an insane story. This is a fun story, Citizen Kane. I'm going to end on this. We'll move on, but it was never released properly.
Really?
So Citizen Kane is based on not based at all.
Right.
But it features Kane, who's a fictional character, and he's a media mogul. He's born, and his parents give him up to like sign over the deed to a rich person, and he becomes a wealthy person as a kid, but also, you know, loses his parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He grows up very rich and kind of cold, but ends up owning a media company, and then uses that media company to influence people. Like, for example, he has his second wife. She's a terrible singer, soap opera singer, not soap opera. He's an opera singer. She's a terrible opera singer, and yet in his newspaper, he's like saying she's the best, you know, and like using his influence into media, you know, to kind of say what he wants with it, and he goes through his life, you know, a lot of things happen, and then ends up dying alone in his castle kind of thing. And then there's in real life, when this is coming out, somebody watches this movie and like, there's a man named William Hearst, media mogul, uses the media as influence, and very similar in terms of Kane. The rumor is he probably never even watched the film Citizen Kane, and he's like, we're gonna boycott this film, and because he owns all the media and also owns some theaters, he's like, we're never gonna show your film here, and actually I want to buy your film so I could destroy it and never show it. And luckily RKO said no, you're not gonna buy to burn it, but he was literally gonna burn the film. which wouldn't. But because of that, it never got really released in theaters widely.
Whoa.
So when people were seeing it in Los Angeles, like, oh my God, this is a boy wonder. This is going to be an amazing film. And then the theater's like, no, we can't show your film here. Her said, if we show it, we're blacklisted. So it's so ironic that, again, art imitates life. It's so crazy that happened. And it, ironically, Hearst was a well-loved man before that. And then after Citizen Kane, he became a hated man, just like in Citizen Kane.
Whoa.
You know, it's so like, it's so trippy, you know?
Jeez.
And it also kind of, Orson Welles started at the top and then always kind of worked his way down. That he was like, at the end of his life, he's trying to make feature films with indie budget because nobody would give him budgets and stuff. It's just so it's crazy life. Bigger than life character. He's an amazing person, but you know, he made Citizen Kane. The creative genius, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna end it on the third film. Maybe get into color. I think you should watch something fun like Alien. You know, Alien is a genre overachiever. You know, it's supposed to be a B movie. You know, like science fiction at that time in the 70s. It's just like a shark movie or something like that.
Nice.
And then you have Ridley Scott that makes it. So he's a production designer, knows how to do scale and all that stuff, and has this vision for Alien. And makes this incredible film, you know. And especially with a woman character as the lead, you know. She's the captain of the ship. Ripley's her name. And... you know, it's such an amazing story, beautifully shot. A Canadian cinematographer shot it.
Epic.
And he shot Ridley Scott's film, which is Alien, and then shot one other feature film, and then went to Toronto and was like, fuck it, I'm never making films again. And he ended up making just commercials in Toronto.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? This is like probably one of the best cinematographers. Yeah. And then never made any other films ever again. It's so crazy. Yeah. Life is wild.
It's kind of epic.
It's so epic. Yeah. It's like, if I would have made Alien, like, man,
also, where do you go from there?
Well, that's true. That's true, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
You're always chasing that next one that won't come.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. You know, maybe he does like 4 more.
I don't know.
Similar in different
I think
genres.
He just didn't like the stress or something like that. I would have to look into it. But he had a comfortable commercial gig. Yeah. You know, he still did some beautiful stuff, but selling underwear, you know, or selling perfumes.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I would have some fun with Alien. It's a really good film. Anamorphic lenses. It's really beautifully shot, and it still holds up to this day.
Nice. Yeah. Take us to Los Angeles. How'd you get there? That's kind of where the story of life was going, and then I was very curious before I was going to forget that question, so I wanted to ask it. Yeah, take us to Los Angeles.
Right, Los Angeles, Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, as I was mentioning, I did, you know, all of these short films and music videos with these amazing artists here in town, and you know, you start to look at how do I get to work on these films that are coming here into town. You know, there's all these cinematographers that are coming in here. How do I get to be that cinematographer that gets selected for these films?
Right.
And then I started to look at the cinematographers that I really looked up to and that I think were some of the best. And most of them came from one school in Los Angeles, and it's called the American Film Institute.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, it seems to be like a good school. If I'm going to level up, you know, should I go to Toronto? You know, like I can't stay in Sudbury. Yeah. Nobody's going to take me seriously for some reason. We'll get into that, why that's stupid. But essentially, you know, I need to level up my career here and be taken seriously as a professional cinematographer. I could go to Toronto, but Toronto is just a service industry to Hollywood, you know? So I'm like, American Film Institute is really the place where I would want to go. If I'm going to go to any film schools, you know, which are kind of bogus, you know, I'm going to go to the best one.
Yeah, why not?
And so I applied, you know, put a portfolio together, again, with all the free stuff. There's not a single paid stuff that, I did really well on that gig. No, these are all paid stuff with my, you know, equipment that I had at the time. You wouldn't know, sometimes I didn't have any equipment, right? It's all about the people, and the music videos that I had was really cool.
Amazing. And
then, so I applied, and in January with the portfolio, and they have about just over 1,000 people that applied to the program internationally. Whoa. So it's not just the United States or Canada. It's like anywhere from around the world. each year apply to this school, and there's probably over 1,000 people that apply to be in the cinematography program.
Whoa.
They only accept 28.
What?
They
I was like, they probably accept some crazy, like 30. You're like 28.
28 cinematographers that are accepted every year.
What?
And I sent my portfolio in January. I got a response back in March saying, "Hey, congratulations!
Come on!
You know, you got accepted to the interview for the interview stage."
Okay.
So now they shortlisted.
There's steps to.
They're shortlisted. I'm like,
nice.
Okay, so if I really want to get in the interview, they're like, you could do it through Zoom or you could do it in person if you're in Los Angeles. And you know, anything that I've gotten in life for a job or anything like that is only face to face.
Yeah.
You know, like if I talk to somebody, it's usually good. You know, I know how to read people
for sure.
But Skype, I can't. Like,
there's too many technical things
right?
that could go wrong.
And it's energy. It's just energy.
Sure.
They need to feel my passion for it, right? Yeah. There needs to, and I need to show that I'm willing to commit.
Yeah.
And I remember I was working on a film. I was like the camera operator on a film, and then that night we wrapped. I go to Toronto. I take the red eye.
Nice.
Go to Los Angeles, and then literally do the interview that day, and then I'm back out. I literally went in and out because I had to go back to work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to do this. And I remember the interview. So talking about frequency and in my portfolio, I have these images, and then I flash my name, Mathieu Seguin, very quickly, like one frame. You know, like at the Tyler Durden.
No way.
Mathieu Seguin. And I do that 3 times, very subconsciously.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
And then I remember
That's amazing.
There's 2 people.
Awesome.
Stephen Lighthill, who's the president of the American Cinematography, the magazine. He's the club. He's president of that club.
Guy. Big cheese.
And then there's our other teacher, or was a professor, and they're both talking to me, and they're like, and they're so straight faced. And then one of the questions like, so what's with your demo reel? And like
straight face.
And I'm like, I'm talking to them like, oh, well, you know, it's about frequency, and I just really want you to remember my name, and you know, I'm just trying to be a little, you know, fun and stuff like that.
Bit over the top, have some fun.
And then like they just like look at me straight face, and then they just write something like
that's the worst.
You know,
that's
just
the
like
biggest fear of everything.
I'm such an idiot. Like I'm gonna lose this opportunity because of my demo reel. Are you kidding me?
I flew all the way up to LA.
Yeah. Right. So
amazing, man.
So then I'm like, I get out and like I flunked it. I such an idiot. As if I even like thought that was cool, you know, or interesting, and
I love it.
and luckily when in May I got the answer. Congratulations, you're accepted into the American Film Institute.
Amazing.
One of the 28 was the only Canadian there to be accepted that year in the cinematography program. Wow. But the thing is, so I got the letter in May. The class starts in August, but now is the time to be like, okay, how am I going to fund this? Because it's $65,000 a year, USD. So whatever the 80-something thousand a year. So that's times 2, 65 times 2. Plus, you cannot work, and you're living in Los Angeles. You have to have an apartment.
Is that 4 years? So school alone is $250,000.
2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's close to $250,000 that I have to raise. And before you go there to get the visa, you can't just have a bit of money. You have to show that you have.
You have to always prove you have a certain amount. Yeah, and like it's a chunk.
Yeah. So like. Unless I show in my bank account that I have this money, they're like, you're not getting a visa. You're not going there.
It's probably like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I need to show I have $250,000 in my account by August, and I have 0. So I'm like, oh shit, this is real. Insane. This is legit. So the first thing I did is, so this is at the end of May. First thing I did is I bought my plane ticket August 5th in Los Angeles. I said, I'm going to be in Los Angeles.
I love it.
And I'm going to be there, and I'm not going to miss this opportunity. It's not because of a financial barrier that I won't be able to do the dream that I want to do. Yeah. Like, I got accepted at the best film school in the world.
Nobody gets accepted.
You know, this is an amazing opportunity to go, and I'm not going to go because I can't afford it. That's such a lame excuse. I can't do it. I have no money. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Be resourceful, right?
Yeah.
And so on June 1st, so I bought my ticket, and on June 1st, it's like my mission is to raise this money. I don't know how, I don't know when, but by August 5th, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
So you have, what, 2.5 months?
2.5, like, 2 months and 5 days, you know? So I basically posted stuff on my walls. You know, I would wake up at early in the morning. I would read these motivational things, and then I would start calling people. I made a presentation about my work and where I want to go, and I would start calling people and be like, hey, I'm Mathieu Seguin. I have a dream, and I want to go to Hollywood. Can you help me out? Would you want to meet with me? Yeah. And so I remember the first person I met. I had done a music video in their building. They had a beautiful building, and I'm like, they probably have money. Yeah. And he doesn't really know me. His name is John, and
shout out.
I go give him this presentation, and he's 10 minutes. He's listening. He's very very nice, and then at the end he's like, Matt, this is, and then I'm like, and now would you help me out? I need $250,000, and he looks at me, he's like, Matt, I don't even know you.
Yeah, you're like, insane.
That's like, I don't have that. I can't just lend that to you. But then they would always say, it's like, but awesome. I know somebody that could probably help you out.
There we go.
That's the thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me talk to this person. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. And so from there, I honed in my pitch. My ask wasn't now 200. It takes time to really my first 10 to 20. I feel so bad for the people that had to sit in there and listen to me. They're like, this kid's crazy, nuts, And then you have to figure out, what is my ask? What am I really asking? Am I asking 250,000 up front? What is it?
That's a big ask.
Right, it's a big ask, right? It's a big ask. So it's honing in your ask, also showing that you've done the movie. So during that time, I had a yard sale. I sold everything in my house. I sold even my cameras, all of that. I basically only kept my film cameras. So I went, I sold everything, my video cameras, all that stuff. It's like, I don't need it there. I'm like, I'm traveling with one suitcase and I'm going to the AFI. They have cameras there. Yeah. I don't need to hold on to it. I held on to my lenses, which I still use them to this day.
Amazing.
And so I sold I made $12,000 in one day selling huge yard sale. CTV came.
You can't do it with money.
Yeah,
money's an excuse.
I had burgers going. I'm doing a yard sale, selling. I remember they're like, "Is the garden hose for sale and still hooked up to my house?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I unhooked it. Everything must go. It's just a fire sale. Everything must go. End up selling my car, all of it.
If there's water in it, double the price.
Yeah, everything. So people were really supportive in that, and then I had a crowdfunding campaign. I raised $40,000 on the crowdfunding campaign. It's just like
the first year almost covered.
Amazing, yeah, but it's still not enough.
No, 250.
How the hell am I gonna get that? Now
so much money, and then actually.
Now I'm going into mid-July, and I've shown that I'm ready to do it. I'm like, have my house ready to go, car's gone, the video camera's gone. I need that money now, and I'm meeting with lots of people. Yeah. And fortunately, it's all a series of gatekeepers, right? You can't go to the rich person that will give you money directly. You need to be welcomed in. You need to be recommended.
I see you.
You need to be like, somebody needs to approach and be like, you should talk to this kid. You can't just go be like, hey, I want. They're not going to listen to you. They're busy people, and they don't do handouts, No, yeah. But if they're recommended by somebody, they'll listen.
Right, it's that trust factor a little bit more.
So I finally got to this gatekeeper that he's like, no, I can't help you. I'm not liquid right now, but this person could probably help you out. And this was in end of July. They don't know, but this needs to work. Yeah. This needs to work. And I pitched him this, and fortunately he's like, I have a production company in Vancouver, and they had shot a film here, and I worked on it briefly, and they really liked me.
So they knew of you.
So they knew
well
me.
Enough.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, he was a really motivated kid. He did the EPK. He did the EPK for us, baby. And
press kits.
So they're like, oh, I'll connect you with them. We'll see what we could do. And then they come back to me with this incredible offer. They're like, listen, Matt, we could help you out. A sponsorship kind of thing, but there's a
as there would be.
And I'm willing to do any. I'm like, if you want my thumbs, if you want it, I'm going. I don't really care.
I have 2 kidneys.
Whatever you need.
I'm going to be there when it starts.
I'm gonna be there. It doesn't really matter what it costs me. And then they're like, well, we're gonna give you the money. When you come back, you need to shoot 3 of our feature films. And I'm like,
you're like,
are you serious? This is a dream deal.
Yeah,
not only do I get to go to school where I want to do, and then come back, I'm kind of guaranteed 3 films to make. from them. And if they don't make them, then it's up to them. Like my payment is through my skills.
That's amazing. That's the greatest opportunity.
That's the greatest deal ever. Yeah. Thank you so much. And then from there, boom, got the money in my account, showed that, got the visa.
That's insane.
I'm off on August 5th. I'm in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and I'm like, holy shit. Literally, my apartment, I could see the Hollywood sign. It's so incredible. It was insane.
Do you have a photo of a shot from that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Please,
I have lots of photos.
Yeah. That's so sick. That's the greatest story.
It's so amazing. It was surreal. Yeah. It's surreal. You're like, holy shit. I'm literally in Hollywood, learning from the best of the best, the Hollywood masters. And, within a few months, I didn't even know in May if it was possible. Now I'm there, and I'm one of the 20. There's 27 other cinematographers that think like me, that are like-minded, that are from all over the world, and it's just an incredible opportunity.
They all got these wild hats like you. This is
great. Oh yeah. Everybody had cowboy hats.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Man, I have short hair, so I can't really pull them off. But like one day,
it was amazing.
More envious of it. Yeah. Oh man, that's so cool. That's the greatest. That's the greatest story. That's really cool. Awesome. Yeah, the perseverance, dude. You're like, no, it's do or die. Same thing as like the making it after the advertising for like working with the hospital. Yeah. I was like, man, there's no way. Can't do it.
There's just that way. You're gonna make it happen. If you see your end goal, you'll fill in the steps.
You can work backwards.
It's kind of like you have your aim. Yeah. If you're aiming at a target, you're not gonna shoot backward. You're not gonna be like, and then right here,
it's impossible.
It's impossible.
I've tried.
It literally. The arrow's not going to go around. It's going to go straight, right? Wherever you aim, and then wherever it lands, then you could re-aim. But like, there's a target. Yeah. My target is to be in Hollywood at that school, and $250,000 is not a barrier for me. It's just I have to make it happen.
Yeah. And then you get, like you said, deal of a lifetime where it's like after I've projects
I couldn't even make that up. Literally, I couldn't even make that up. Being like, I want to go and I want to be like.
What's the best possible outcome? Couldn't figure it out in my head.
I'm like, I'm willing to pay 30% interest, 40, like whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Kidney. You said thumb finger.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to pay people back a huge amount of sum, but it will be worth it because I will be the top cinematographer.
Instead, it's one payment. You owe 3 movies, which is just more opportunity for reps.
Yeah.
And they're getting somebody who just fresh came out.
They're getting somebody that's really skilled cinematographer for
like a pretty good investment.
At the discount that I was before, right?
Yeah.
At the same rate that it would have got me before AFI.
Which is epic.
Right?
For both you guys.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity.
Amazing. That's so cool.
And also, this couldn't have happened without the community of Sudbury, though. Mm-hmm. It's like this person that ultimately gave me this sponsorship, even though they are not living in Sudbury now, he's a Sudbury person.
Yeah.
He loves Sudbury, and he's proud to help out Sudburyans. And it's just like, this is what it is. We have to give back to our own community, right?
Amazing.
And then there's another Sudbury story. We could talk about this forever, so I'm just going to kind of move on. Amazing time at AFI. We're basically, unlike any films, I would say never to go to film school except AFI. and not because I went there, but mostly because of the ethos is that you're actually creating films. Yeah. Every weekend we're working on a short film. By the end of the 2 years, I worked, I think, on 32 short films.
Oh my!
One weekend we're in downtown LA doing a sci-fi short film. Next weekend we're in Malibu shooting comedy on the beat. You're just always doing it. You're loading in the truck on the Friday. You're doing your camera tests. You're doing it's military. It's like the cinematography program is the hardest at AFI. Everybody else is kind of like liberal and the directors do, but cinematographers are expected at the highest.
You work hard.
We had an Israeli professor.
Yeah.
He was militant. He would be like, if you're at 6 p.m., when you're doing your lighting course, if you're not done and wrapped by then, I'm turning on the lights and I'm shutting off the camera and
he would do it.
Yeah, he would do it. You're like, oh, Tell's coming up, hurry.
Yeah, the sense of urgency, eh?
Yeah, you get your shit together, man. Yeah. You're here to do a job, and you're here to do it well, and you're gonna always deliver an amazing.
I love that approach, right? But then that's why it's so successful. That people
it's through discipline.
Yeah.
Honestly, anything you want to do is discipline.
I love that.
And it's like if you don't know your tool, like your camera, how can you possibly think, I'm going to do this when you haven't calibrated your camera?
Yeah, you have the most expensive camera.
Exactly. If it's not calibrated, you don't know how it behaves. How can you predict how it's going to behave, right? If you want a certain color or whatever, but you didn't white balance, then it's not going to turn out the right way. You need to calibrate your equipment. So every single film, even though we did like 32 every Thursday we go to do the camera test, the over and under exposure test to see the latitude of the camera, see if anything has, even though we're shooting with the same camera,
same set, everything.
We're checking the latitude. You know, okay, I want to try this on this film, so we're going to test out the lenses. We're going to do, it's just, you know,
insane.
You have to do that. Do you have to test your tools?
Very militant.
Yeah, very militant. Very militant. And he would also say, if you're 15 minutes early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
And we would get scolded for that.
No kidding, eh?
What are you doing? And I'm like, it's noon. The class starts at noon. Like, and then they would scold you. They're like, no. You know, you want a lollygag? You want a lollygag? You know, you do it beforehand. You know, you want to say hello to everyone? You do it 15 minutes early. You know,
LA, eh? Yeah. School and down. Oh
but this is only at AFI. So there's AFI, and then there's two other schools. There's UCLA. Well, there's three, and then there's NYFA, which is the New York Film Academy, and then there's USC, which is where George Lucas went, University of Southern California.
Yeah.
I've worked on all of these sets, and everybody else is like, there's no discipline. Not. There's so little discipline, right? People work on AFI sets because they know we run it really well.
Yeah,
we
had sometimes for a reason.
Yeah, we sometimes would have 45 to 50 volunteers come out on our sets to work on it for free because they know they would learn something.
Yeah.
And like the people that worked on our sets are now, you know, really great gaffers or anything like that because they learned with the tools that we had. And it's just you know, I remember we were shooting our first short film and my team was up first, and so I hadn't been on.
You had no idea.
Yeah, what to expect, and then they're like, "Oh, you're gonna need all your crew, and there should be all volunteers." And I'm like, I don't know anyone here in Los Angeles. You know, how am I supposed to get crew? And you know, you just put out a call out, and then boom, literally within a week, I have 30 people.
Everybody you need.
You know, just by the name of AFI. This is an AFI set. Oh yeah, I want to come. It was just so amazing, you know, just to be in that environment where people give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to do something, don't do it half-assed. Yeah. You're a professional cinematographer. This is the bar that you're at.
Yeah.
You know?
You give a shit.
You give a shit about the image. Example. And if you don't control the image will control you.
For sure.
You know?
No, that makes sense.
So if you don't think that, you know, this natural light or that will affect your image, it will. And it will turn it into a different emotion than you expected, right? So it was just a really amazing process. And I'll just give one more story about AFI.
For sure, please, yeah.
And then just to illustrate how important community is.
Yeah.
You know, Sudbury community. So in our second year, we have our thesis film. And our thesis film is bigger than our short film. It's still a short film, but it's bigger, you know, all of this stuff. And we have to raise more money. And like, I already gave $65,000 plus two, you know, like I'm already, you know, deep, and can't raise more money. I've tapped out my community, you know, like I can't go back. Hey guys, I need more money. So I'm racking my brain. I'm like, how can I possibly, you know, who can I approach that I haven't approached that would have money, but you know, that know me.
Yeah, tap everybody out.
So I know that Alex Trebek, who was the host, he passed away now, was from Sudbury. Yeah. And he's in doing Jeopardy, a very successful show for, you know, how many years, past 20, 30 years or whatever.
Yeah, forever.
And so I email him. I don't even have his email. I look Alex Trebek email and I find like in like the third Google search it's like his manager and his name is like Rocky at Sony Pictures. And I'm like, that doesn't even sound real.
Sounds made up.
Sounds made up.
Who's Rocky? Yeah.
It's also in LA, so maybe. So I send Rocky an email saying, "Hey Rocky, I'm Mathieu Seguin. I'm from Sudbury, and I'm doing my thesis film at the American Film Institute, and it wouldn't have been possible without my community from Sudbury to go here. And now I'm trying to raise more funds. If you could just send this along to Alex Trebek, here's the thing of our film, and you know, it would mean a lot if to have his support." And this was in September. Fired off, and I fired off a lot of other emails too.
For
you know,
sure.
So you gotta ask.
Yeah, if you don't ask, it's always no.
Right. So, and then I kind of forgot about it. And in October, we're now getting closer to our film, and they're like, guys, if you don't lock the budget, and you guys are short on the budget, you're gonna have to cut these scenes and rewrite your short film and stuff like that.
No, just so much extra work.
And then on the Friday when we're supposed to meet, they're like, oh, congratulations, team, you met your fundraising goals. And we're like, huh? And they're like, you got a donation a $10,000 donation from the Trebek Foundation.
Let's go, baby!
I'm like, what the
Come
hell?
on!
That's so crazy.
He didn't even tell you.
No, you just it's even gets crazy.
So good.
This is why you don't even know. The universe always works in your favor if you're doing it. So now you're saying like I didn't even know, right? So this is in September, and in September I'll show you the picture. I'll send them to you.
Please, yeah.
But I only brought my film camera. I have medium format and I have 35 millimeter. Yeah. And so that year, every set I would go to, I would take a few frames. Just like, simple. This frame this covers this, and I had a medium format. So one frame per set or whatever, and I would take a few other pictures. And then in my second year in thesis film, I printed out this book and I was selling it. You know,
I love it.
Yeah. Near the cafeteria or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, hey, support our film. And honestly, I didn't sell that many because it's all students, right? They're like,
they're not gonna. They're like, we also
we're like,
to sell a kidney.
I sold a few, but the one that I did sell to was Richard Gladstein, which was at the time the dean of AFI, and and he looks at my book, he's like, whoa, this is really. And
you
cool.
knew it was him.
Yeah, he's the dean. Yeah, and it's a small enough school, so you know, kind of.
True. Yeah.
But he didn't know of me, right? And he didn't know the class that we knew him, but like
he knew the program.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not like we had much interaction with him, but he had an interaction with of all the cinematographers. Like he didn't really talk, but he talked to me, and he's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And you know, and then we started talking. I showed him the picture. I take one, and we had a really great conversation. Yeah. And he bought my book, and so when Alex Trebek saw my email, I guess. He's like, who's this Mathieu Seguin kid? And he goes and he's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to call up the dean of AFI because I know him.
Gangster.
It's just like that. Gangster. He's like, yeah, I'm really cool.
Oh, my goodness.
And he's like, Richard, I got this email from Mathieu Seguin. And that was literally the day that he bought my book.
No way. So it was like fresh.
So Richard, the dean is like,
come on.
Oh, my God, Alex. That is one of our best cinematographers. I know him personally, and he's doing this film, and so he's now pumping me up. Like if it would have been any other time, he'd been like, I guess he goes to this school. I can't tell you much about, but he's like, I literally have his book. I'm seeing his images.
No way.
And so he's like, yeah, you should definitely support this film. Mathieu is a great cinematographer.
Let's go.
And then Alex Trebek donated because of that.
Okay, so took an extra couple clips and.
Yeah, so all that says that I was kind of bummed out that I didn't sell many books, you know, but indirectly, I had to do that in order to do that.
And it worked.
And it worked.
It just maybe didn't work from selling books, but you sold to the right
person. I sold like 2 books, and one of them was the AFI dean. And that day, or like within that week, he gets a call being,
$10,000 book, man.
Do you know a cinematographer named Mathieu Seguin?
It's on his desk as he's answering.
100%. It says my name on it.
That's insane.
Right?
Bro, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, pretty surreal.
I almost don't believe that. That's insane.
And then I'm like, oh man, I gotta thank him. And then I reach out
how do you?
to him and what? And then I get a call like a week later and on my phone, and he's like, it's Alex Trebek's voice, like, Mathieu Seguin, this is Alex Trebek. You know, like that. Oh my God. And then it's so I thank him. Yeah. And then, you know, we start to talk about Sudbury.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you know, I'm from the flour mill and this and that. I went to here. And like, he lit up when he was talking about Sudbury.
Oh, amazing.
You know, it's so he's literally worth millions of dollars, has a beautiful house in the valley in Burbank. I went to him. It was very, very cool. He has his separate house for his mom he had and all that stuff. It's a really amazing house. But he loved Sudbury. You know, he even had one on one of the episodes of Jeopardy. He had a category called Alex Trebek's hometown. It was all questions about Sudbury.
No way.
And nobody got them.
He's probably pissed.
It was just like this whole nobody got
them.
He's
like, we're gonna cut this out of the show.
Yeah, but he loved Sudbury so much that he actually made it a category, right?
That. Yeah.
And he would go out of his way to talk about, you know, where he was from and all that stuff. So, you know, community means a lot. I'm just saying that, like, look, he's in Los Angeles. He shouldn't give a shit about it. He now has a better life and all that. But man, did he ever love his community? And it's so important. Yeah. And this is why I'm back here. Like, I want to give back to the community. You know, like whatever I learned, I want to share it with everyone.
Yeah,
I'm so excited,
fired up to do that.
And I want people to also be at the raise up their level, right?
Sure.
Like if you love cinema and you want to be in cinema, then you got to discipline yourself. You know, it's not by doing it once in a while or you have a great idea for a script. It's writing that script.
Yeah.
You know, it's filming something and editing it and then doing it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's the only way of doing it. It's through repetition and discipline. So, but with that, I've been shown the Hollywood process.
Right.
You know, this is how our short films is the exact same way that you would scale up to make a feature film or a series or anything like that. You know, so it's like once you know this process, you could apply this anywhere. And this is what we're doing. We're showing people and mentoring people.
It's applicable to.
And also, I want to work with people that know this stuff. I don't want to like. I've been screwed so many times by producers that have no idea about the filmmaking process. Yet they're making these calls and wasting this budget when it's like your budget should be spent for what's on camera. Right. You know, not for your extra assistant or your trailer or this and that. It's like this budget doesn't call for that. Like, why don't you make the best film possible?
I see you. Yeah.
You know, so
you're spending all this money on stuff you don't see, and you're like, how does this benefit the film at all?
Right?
Because they have an extra heated trailer.
Exactly. Right. If it's not on camera, then it's wasted.
Oh.
Like everything.
That's a really good way to put it.
Essentially, like of course it's ancillary costs you have to do, but like whatever you could do is like, does it benefit the image? And if not, it's kind of wasted.
Yeah, you can cut it.
You could cut it. Yeah. You know, like comfort is nice, but also like making a great movie is what we're all doing.
Yeah, that's the whole reason we're all here.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's so cool. I really like that. And I think that's, to your point, you being able to say that, being like, listen, I could raise all this money, I could get all these resources. Like you seem very resourceful. Resourceful for sure. So you're like, well, I can get these sponsorships, I can get these things. Why would I need to spend all this money in the budget for something that's not going to affect the image, right? You're like, we can figure out another way. If we find a way to sponsor something, credit, whatever. But it's like, if it doesn't affect the image or how it looks,
you know,
yeah, not worth it. Cut it.
That's it.
Interesting.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, like everything else is wasted.
Resourcefulness and discipline, eh?
Yeah, it's you know, we might not have everything, but we could be resourceful.
For sure.
You know, like resourceful is not anything to do with money or anything like that. Is asking questions, is you following up with things, the discipline.
Yeah.
But is also how can you stretch your budget as much as possible? Okay, I might not have money to rent a crane or anything like that, but I have a buddy that owns a construction company.
Yeah.
You know, like how can you blend these two things? You know,
I see.
And just like who do you know? And this is why why I choose to be back here in Sudbury. You know, like, I love the north and the lakes and all that and miss so much.
There's a
like,
lot of beautiful
Los Angeles is a desert, okay? I miss the water. The water is so important, fresh water. Like, we are the best place possible to be creative.
Yeah.
You know? But also, this is my network. I can make a really expensive looking film for cheap here because I know a lot of the people. I worked with a lot of the people here. Yeah. And so it's so important that, like, in Toronto, I can't do that much, right? Like, I don't have a network. Tough. I can't be like, hey, come on, let me. They'd be like, no, you know, I don't know. But here,
tough.
Man, there's some amazing people, all this stuff, and people are willing to help. But mostly it's like, you have to show that you're also willing to bridge, right? You're not. Right. I'm not going to leave you hanging. If I damage your floor, I'm gonna leave. It's like, no, we want to leave the place better than we left.
There's
it,
no
right?
ego to it, right? It's a group. It's a group thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no matter what the role is, that person might play.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Damn right. Oh, that's awesome. It's very, very unique focus too. Like thinking about like the resourcefulness, the discipline, how you kind of are able to apply it in like a militant sense, but also still tap into your creative side. Yeah. It's very, very unique way of doing it.
I think, you know, there's always some people that are saying like, oh, I'm not very creative. Everybody's creative. Yeah. You know, and you don't have to be a filmmaker or a painter to be creative. An accountant could be creative, right? Yeah. It's being creative is when you're in the zone, when you're living in the present, when everything just kind of flows, right? And when I'm on set, I'm not thinking about future or past. I'm like, this is
you're locked in.
I'm trying to do this, and everybody's working for that same thing. You know, that's creativity. And so you could apply it to anything where you're able to be in the present.
How do people tap into that if they might have that negative mindset too? Is it kind of just they shift that mindset or what? Like how do they get out of like, oh, I want to like get my creative, like be proactive, I guess, in terms of developing their creativity? How do they go from that mindset to boom, I want to develop it a little bit and whatnot, especially if it might be in their accounting job, right?
Yeah. You know, you said mindset. What is mindset for you? Like, how do you have a little voice that talks to you?
Yeah, right. Like it's kind of, does it quantify as like for me would be the voice of like when no one else is around? What's it saying about this thing?
Not only how is it talking to you?
Is it negative?
How is it talking to you? You know, is that little voice a friend? Should you listen to that little voice?
Yeah.
When it's been wrong so many times,
yeah,
saying that you can't do it, that you're not good enough, that you're not intelligent enough, or you're to this, or you're too like.
Yeah.
That little voice, don't listen to it. It's like, would you listen to your roommate that's telling you that you can't do this? It's like, no, get out of here.
Yeah,
like,
kick rocks.
Why? Yeah, why would I listen to you? You're on the couch and you're not doing anything. Why should I take your advice?
Yeah.
And
you haven't done what I'm trying to do.
Right?
Yeah.
We're the CEOs of our own body. You know, like we're a manager, and yes, we can't push ourselves all the way, but it is how do you motivate yourself, right?
Right.
Like, to me, you have to see the big picture. You have to see the vision. Like, where do you want to be? Like, you want to be successful. This podcast, how do you make it as successful as possible?
Consistent.
Well, it's consistency 100%.
That's the first one.
And having amazing guests, right? Yeah. Like, that is your job. So you have to actively look for these amazing people. But also, if you're actively looking for it, these people will find you as well.
They have, actually. Since before the beginning of the year. I was like, hey, I got to, like, this is the year, like, we start taking it seriously. We have the cameras. There's no excuses. There's nothing kind of shying away from it. And now it's like, oh, that's why we're in February doing this. So I'm like, man, like, everybody. And you mentioned to one person, they're like, oh, you should talk to this person. Amazing people, no amazing people.
Things open up, right?
Yeah, man.
Things open up because you have that vision. You already know now. You're taking it seriously. This podcast will grow. You know, it's not about, oh, last video only got this many videos. No, it's like, oh, when I get 100,000 views, that's it.
Yeah, people will go back and see those
100%.
And go, oh my goodness, I didn't know you talked to this person. I didn't know. I find that happen. And they're like, oh, you should get. I'm like, I did have. Here's the link. And they're like, oh, this was great. And there we go.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, man.
So
that's cool.
We're our own obstacles.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Tough. It's so wild how. This is why we started Script. I'm going to go into Script.
Please,
now,
that was my next transition. Amazing.
So, I want to work with the best filmmakers possible.
Yeah.
And I want to do it here, have a sustainable film industry in Northern Ontario where there's directors, cinematographers, producers, production designers, screenwriters, and editors. The 6 key creative people that you need for a team to make a film should be here. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no reason. There's lots of talents up here.
Can't find 6 people.
You know, come on, that care about their project and want to see it through and make a film. Should be possible, right?
Plenty.
And yet we've never been given this opportunity. There's been films that are coming here for the past 10, 15 years with NHFC money, $1 million. Last year they spent $40 million on film. None of these people were from, the key creative people were from here. Cool, we're a service industry, we're technicians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But why can't we be the directors on these films?
Yeah.
Why can't we be the producers?
Why can't it be our stories we want to tell?
Why can't they even interview us for these films? You know? We never, ever get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe if we hold out for another 10 years, we'll get an opportunity. Of course not.
Yeah, hold out?
What the hell?
It's not being proactive.
Like, it's so stupid to think, maybe one day they'll look at me and they'll... no.
Maybe one day they'll give you $250,000 to go study.
You have to do it, right?
You had to go get it.
You have to make it happen. And so we're making it happen.
Yeah.
And again, I'm taking everything that I learned at AFI...
Yeah.
Ditching whatever that I don't think works.
Amazing.
And applying here for us.
Amazing.
And the way to do that is scaling up, right? You can't go all the way. My vision is to make 3 feature films a year with Northern Ontario people up here. But right now we don't have the team. So how do directors become directors? Yeah. They need to direct.
Yeah.
How do producers be producers? They need to produce. How do cinematographers become cinematographers? They need to shoot.
Yeah.
So we need films that we could work on and have the opportunity to be in these roles.
Right.
We never get it.
Yeah.
So we need to make our own.
Right. So
ScriptFest was basically the opportunity to get the best ideas out and work on these ideas. And the idea was like, we're a group of filmmakers. There's a team of us. And if we are giving up one weekend, what story should we work on? And then we started pitching ideas and be like, well, I like that idea. I would work on that. And then so that was season 1. We had 12 people pitch to us, and we voted on the best ideas, and we ended up producing 3 of them. Amazing short films. And when we were doing them, I called up Sunbelt Rentals, which is the film equipment here in town.
Yep.
There's only 5 places all across Canada where you could get this same equipment that you get in Los Angeles and Toronto or anything like that. Halifax, Toronto, Vancouver, two other regions. Sudbury is one of them.
Let's go.
You know?
Yeah.
Where you could get every piece of equipment that you can find in Los Angeles here. If you're living anywhere else, that's really hard to get.
Yeah, man.
Now it's like I just have to call them up and be like, and so they sponsored our film. They're like, yeah, anything you want, we'll help you out.
Amazing.
And then we have Canada Film Equipment, Ontario Camera, who also sponsors us. They're like, you want lenses, you want camera equipment, you want wireless focus, wireless monitor, we could help you out. So now we have the best equipment that any film that comes up here, we have the same equipment.
Yeah.
Now we have original ideas from new directors. So we had 3 films go out this summer, and now this in November we did Scriptfest Season 2.
Epic.
And so we opened up to the public now. We're like, whoa, what kind of ideas can we get if they're not filmmakers?
Yeah.
If they're, just have a great story to tell. And I'm sure everybody's got a story that they want to tell. And they want to be their own directors, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, well, if you do that, we'll get it directed by... No, you should be the director of your own film.
Yeah.
So it's really to empower and inspire people to take action.
Let's go.
Dream
yeah.
big. Come on. If you want to be a director, how the hell are you going to be a director if you don't direct? So we had 6 sessions. November we had 2. December we had 2. And January we had 2 sessions. And it was incredible. It was at the Indie Cinema. And by the end, the cinema was basically filled with public audience. People literally come up, they pitch their story for 5 minutes, and then we have a feedback session. And it was just so incredible, that sharing of energy.
Yeah.
People, it's so exciting, exhilarating, because people go up and you have no idea what they're going to, what's the next story going to be, right? And so we had 34 ideas pitched to us, all awesome, amazing ideas. From there, our season 1 team, who worked on season 1, cast and crew, voted and shortlisted 6 of these ideas. And it was incredibly hard. Yeah. It was incredibly hard.
Which is a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah, there's so many good ideas. But I want this idea to go to as well. So, and then from there, we couldn't decide. So we got 5 official Scriptfest judges. Amazing. And these are amazing judges. These are currently right now making films, distributing films. These are the people in the industry in Canada. Epic. And so the people went, and the 6 people selected pitched to these judges, and it was so awesome. They had their pitch deck. I was standing in some of these presentation. It was still all done through Zoom or Google Meet, and from there the judges had to pick 4 of them to get selected. Crazy. And it was we're all like, which one's going to go through? They're all so good, And luckily they did the hard work. And now we're in our week 5. Yeah. So it takes 6 weeks of pre-production, and then we shoot for 3 days. Epic, yeah. And so now we're on our 5th week of pre-production, or 5 weeks out, and then we're going to shoot our first film March 22nd, 23rd, 24th, so 3 days. Epic, yeah. And that's our first film called It's March 17th, and I'm Still in Love with You. Beautiful film from this amazing, talented, emerging director. She's very much into poetry and all that stuff, and this is going to be a really beautiful film. So heartfelt. Yeah. And then we have 3 other ones that are going out, and the difference that we did is when we're going to do season 2, what we did is we picked a date. So shooting March, we're shooting in May, shooting in June, shooting in August. Smart. I have no idea what these films are, what they were going to be, or anything like that. But we're picking a date. Epic. And that's a difference. Yeah. People know we're going to do it because we've already showed that we're putting it on the calendar. Yeah. Yeah, it's in writing. And then now it's suddenly real, right? Oh, yeah. And just like I did with my plane ticket. Booking the plane ticket. Booking the plane ticket. Shoot, aim, have your aim. I don't know how we're going to do this short film or with what resource. Yeah. There's the target. You have to hit it. That's it. Yeah. And now you should see just from the 6 weeks out to now we had our 5 weeks out, we broke down the script, incredible changes already. Yeah. The script has taken shape. We've found the location so far. We have one more location to find. The crew's coming together. People are reaching out. We're doing our casting. It's coming together. Because we said, no matter what, the show must go on. We're shooting on March 22nd. Right. That's it. How it happens is how it happens. So I would say to anybody that also it's about, Scriptfest is just about, you have to do it your own. If you have your story, go out and do it.
Yeah.
So
creativity, importance of it. We're kind of with Scriptfest, yeah.
If you could dream it, you could make it a reality. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, it has to start with you dreaming it.
Mm-hmm.
How can you possibly do anything else if you can't imagine it yourself?
Yeah.
Right? If you want to be rich, you want to be successful, what does that look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
What is that success? How are you successful? What would ultimately make you happy?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question. And not only ask yourself, imagine it.
Yeah.
See yourself. That's all. Like, all of these steps I'm taking, I'm just literally, it's like walking, because I'm so stoked to get to the 3 feature films that we're going to do every year with these amazingly talented Northern Ontario directors and all that. Like, I'm so stoked for that. These are just the steps that I need to take to get there. Scriptfest, raising these people, growing the talent.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Developing it the right way.
Yeah, that's it. The right way, right? I'm not taking cutting corner. I know what I know from going to AFI is that you just need to do the process. You need to go through each one of them. Mm-hmm. It's like military. Like, you need to know that. So when we're in feature film mode, I know that there's a director that went to war with me. You know, like, and it's so interesting how, as I go through this, the team kind of naturally forms, and the filters are there.
Yeah.
When people, it's so funny how people self-sabotage themselves. Like, there is literally everybody that says, "Oh, I offer that." I don't, even though I don't know them, I'm like, "You should come on our set if you want to learn." I literally give them the opportunity. I have somebody that will read your script. Yeah. And 99% of the people do not take me up on my offer. Damn. Self-sabotage. Yeah. Like, where else are you going to get an opportunity to mentorship of a producer if you want to be a producer? And literally, I gave them this opportunity. They're willing to do it. And then they text me at the 5 weeks out, "Oh, this is too much work, and I can't commit to this." Literally 2 days ago, they said they wanted to be a filmmaker, and they're so excited about, but then it's too much work for them to.
You don't know what too much work is.
But see how it filters. Oh wow, great! This person
Saves
was not ready, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to convince somebody that this is worth doing. I'm like,
right.
But that self-talk talk them out of it. Yeah. When it's like, if you want to be a filmmaker, this was obviously the way. You can do it your own way, but
it's what it takes.
You know, like, we gotta if you say you're going to do something, just do it. Yeah. Don't say, "I'm going to do this," and then you start to talk, you waffle, and you talk yourself out of it, and like,
you can make excuses for just about anything.
Everything, right? Yeah. There's always a reason not to do something. Mm-hmm. Every single time.
Timing, money, don't know how. You could figure all that out. You could get all that. Right? Right? You're living proof of that.
Be resourceful. And so it's just about how you talk to yourself. And do you want to be successful? How do you see that happen? And what are the steps that you would need to take in order to start going? You don't need to know every step. When we were making a script list, I'm literally making it up as I go, because I don't know. You know, I'm like, I just want to hear great ideas, and ideas are our most precious resource. So I'm going to open up to the public. Yeah. At that time, I remember I did the first script fest at the Indie Cinema, and then they're like, "Well, Matt, I don't know if we could even do more events here, because I didn't have money at that time to pay for the venue." Yeah. And then they're like, "Well, we don't know." So everything was like, and I had already posted it. People like, "We're doing another session here." Yeah. and then it lined up. I got a grant from the city. Thank you, City of Greater Sudbury. They're sponsoring Scriptfest. Amazing. And then they allowed everything to happen. But if I didn't take that first step, because I would have been like, "Oh, well, I can't afford this." It just all fell into place.
Whatever it takes, baby.
It just all fell into place.
Amazing.
And then now this is going, and it will all fall into place. I don't know. The universe will guide you, right? Yeah. Just be open and just know that it's going to work out because you're actively pursuing it. Mm-hmm. It's when you don't do it, you'll get that same result. You're sitting on the couch, you'll get the sitting on the couch result.
I see it.
It. Just do it.
I love
Aim and do it, and then re-aim. Right? Yeah. If you're off the target, okay. Yeah. How can I re-aim so my steps are more in lock with that? Who would I need to talk to?
Learn from the next one. Next one. Keep going.
And then when something does happen that is not the result that you want, don't blame anybody else.
I see. Yeah.
Ask yourself, what can I have done?
Yeah, what went wrong?
to change the scenario or to get the scenario that I wanted? Should I have responded like that? Should I have done more? Or how could I have communicated better with this person that they would have seen the same vision that I had?
I see you.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a movie. If you know, you're reading the script, you're interpreting these words differently than the person that wrote them, right? So it's so important as the director or the writer of the script, when you're talking to your cinematographer, that you can't just be like, read the script and then, no, because you'll get it. It's so important that you communicate what you want off it. You know, like the more that you could articulate, I'm seeing, this is a love scene, I'm seeing these red light coming in, but we don't see their face yet. And then we're going to put, you know, like, oh, I'm starting to really, I'm not going to now do a blue light. You know, you've articulated it. And then it's so it's always ask yourself, like, how can I have communicated? Because it's really just a communication game, right?
Right.
It's just how you talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, and the more that you accept that you have a responsibility in anything that happens to you, you're in control. You're in control of everything that happens because you could decide to do something or decide not to do something.
Yeah.
So really,
for sure,
what are you going to do about that, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to be successful? Ask yourself that. Visualize in your mind's eye. This is what filmmaking is all about. Is about having this crazy dream visualized in your mind, and then all of a sudden it becomes reality by you aligning everything together.
Yeah.
Your creative, your idea becomes 3-dimensional, and then you're compressing it back to a 2-dimensional space.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's so trippy, right? But our whole life is a script either way, right? It's like how do we dream is the exact same way how we edit a movie. You know, there's no entrance. Sometimes we cut out. There's ellipses. There's this. Yeah. Editing is exactly like dreaming. You know?
Yeah.
And this is how we recall things. We don't recall everything linearly or anything. It's like, and sometimes it's also more golden and or colder. Or it's kind of like a movie, right? And we're writing the script to our own movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the challenges. Like, again, I could go into Orson Welles or George Lucas, how he did Star Wars. You know, like, it was not a linear path.
Oh, goodness, no.
You know, and then you're like, oh, wow, so lucky. Man, would you have sacrificed as much as this person would have? You know?
Not even half of it for most people,
So...
My goodness, man.
You know...
That's insane.
The way you talk to yourself is the most important thing. Talk to yourself like you like yourself, you know?
For one.
And treat yourself nicely, but also that thinking of something can't happen, ideas, anything is energy. Right? If I say something, even in my head, but then if I articulate it or anything like that, it becomes that much more material. Even though it's like when we touch something, we're actually never touching something because the force, you know, the strong force and the weak force never allows these electrons to touch. Yeah. So it's all an illusion, anyways, right? And so ideas, brain waves.
Yeah.
If you put it out there, the universe starts to make it happen. Oh, I can't do this. This will never happen. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right. How about you say, man, this is going to be so great when this happens. Oh, I can't wait to meet that person. Yeah. I need to meet. The universe will also work. And the more that you say it, the more that you put in action, the faster it will happen, right?
Talk it into existence.
100%. Every single thing is energy. Your brainwave is energy. So if you put it out there, guess what? The universe will somehow make it happen, right? And it's all about how you react to things and your mindset.
Amazing.
So important.
Amazing. So as we kind of wrap up, do you have anything? You highlighted a lot of good stuff towards the end of that. Couple sentences just now. Did you want to either reiterate it, say something different to conclude, or just roll out the red carpet for you? You can kind of share where you're, where we can get a hold of you, where people can connect and see what you're doing and stuff like that and follow your projects. Do you want to conclude on something and then we do that, or just jump into the red carpet? It's up to you.
I just want to make sure that anybody that's watching this, that they realize that if they don't reach their full potential, we're all dying anyway. We're all going to die in a matter of years, in a matter of decades, or maybe tomorrow, you know?
Yeah.
So what the hell are you waiting for? Like, why talk yourself? We're living right now, you know.
Yeah.
If you're dying, you can't do anything. If you're dead, you can't do anything. So you're living right now at this moment, and at this moment, you have the ability to do something. And afterwards, you don't have that ability.
Yeah.
So act now. The hell are you waiting for? You know, you want to have that dream, put it into action.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, make a plan, see yourself, and put it into action. And if you really don't know where to start into filmmaking and you have your own obstacles, you reach out to me, you reach out to ScriptFest, you reach out to filmmakers. We want creativity.
Yeah.
I know there's more people that feel the same way as I do, and I want to meet them. Did you know that James Cameron is from Kapuskasing? He was born there?
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, that's crazy.
The greatest...
I still can't believe that when you told me on the phone. Still can't believe it.
He's from Northern Ontario. We need to nurture...
Small place in
right?
Ontario. Very.
We need to nurture these people. So, you know, be creative. Reach your full potential. Reach out to us. So ScriptFest is happening. We're going all the way to August. There's 4 opportunities to get on set, to work as a lead creative on this. There's not, you know, any barriers. Your own barrier is yourself. If you want to do it, you show up and you discipline yourself, and you will be very successful.
Amazing.
You know?
Yeah.
So reach out to us. Our channel will be in your link.
Yes, sir.
We're mainly on Instagram is our main kind of posting thing. We have other channel on Facebook and all that stuff, but it's definitely easier to get on Instagram. We're in the process of making a website. Also follow us on YouTube. Really, everything pushes us to YouTube, and that's where you'll find the full episodes. Our films are going to be there.
I love it. Yeah.
All of that stuff,
YouTube's
man.
the best.
Yeah. It's
Amazing.
really self-distribution, right?
Yep.
That's where it's at.
Right on. Yeah, the links for all that stuff will be the Instagrams, the YouTubes as well, and the videos and stuff. So yeah, I really appreciate your time today, man. That was a lot of good stuff we went through, and I'm really grateful for it. So thank you very much.
Awesome, man.
Right on. We'll do
pleasure.
this again. Absolutely.
Cool.
Right on. That's